automobiles at all levels, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Do you know what happened in 1957? Up until that point, almost every car on the road came from Detroit. And in 1957, a wave of foreign automobiles came to this country. Some were really crazy. One, you had to change seats because it had no reverse gear, so you had to move the seat to the other end to drive in the other direction. And parking was a bit of a problem because you had to run in and out of the car 5 or 6 times to move the car back and forth. At that time, I was living about 60 miles north of New York City, and I was working in the city, but we lived in a rural area, and I couldn't leave my wife stranded without a car. It was 3.5 hours each way by public transportation, so obviously I needed a car. I didn't have much money, and I went to the auto show, and I found the perfect solution. A Fiat Cinquecento. This was a wonderful little car. $1,058, 50 miles to the gallon, absolutely perfect. It had a 2-cylinder engine, air-cooled, and had all of about 12 horsepower. What it really was a lawnmower encased without a blades. But I enjoyed that car thoroughly. And things were going on fine, and one day about halfway to work, the car, instead of its normal hum, suddenly went put, and it died. I got towed off the highway, got to a gas station. The fellow at the gas station takes a look, and he says, "Try it now." I turned the key, vroom, the car was running again. So I paid him, and I said, "By the way, what was the trouble?" He said, "Your distributor was on backwards." I kind of scratched my head a bit because it'd been running fine up to that point, but I shrugged it off, went to work. The next day everything was fine. The next day was Wednesday, and as I was getting off the parkway, 9 miles from home, in a country area, put. Fortunately, the end of the exit was at the top of the hill. I put my foot down on the clutch and rolled down into the gas station. I used to get gas there occasionally, so I knew the fellow, and he took a look. And he says, "Try it now." Boom! It started all up again. I said, "Fred, what was the problem?" He says, "Your distributor was on backwards." So I kind of scratched my head again. And I thought, well, the first guy who fixed it had to be wrong, and he just put it back the way it was, and everything was great. Well, it was fine the next day, and Friday, the end of the week, I'm coming home, looking to take it easy for the weekend. I get to the exact same spot at the top of that exit, put. But I coasted down again to the same station, except it was after 5 o'clock, and he closed for the weekend. Well, in those days, there were no cell phones, but there was a phone booth, and I called my wife. I said, "You better come get me." Well, she came with my neighbor, and they pushed me 9 miles all the way home. But at least the weekend was there, so I had to worry about what I was going to do on Monday. 9 o'clock Saturday morning, my neighbor's knocking on the door. He's, "Let's fix that little whatever of yours and get you going again." The manual was in Italian, but he spoke French, so it wasn't too bad. And one way or another, we managed to take everything out that we had to take out. measure everything precisely, and we put the whole thing back together again, and nothing happened. Along comes a friend of his, and he says, "What you doing?" So we told him, and he said, "Well, we used to have a 2-cylinder diesel with that. Just like that same problem." He says, "Your spark plug wires are switched." So we took a look. No way, because one was short and one was long, and it just wouldn't go the other way. Well, he said, if your spark plug wires are okay, then your distributor must be on backwards. So I took a look, loosened the screw, turned the distributor 180 degrees, tightened up the screw, and turned on the engine. Boom! My distributor was on backwards. And as I'm watching, I see the distributor turning by itself until it was backwards. So I said, "Well, what is going on?" I took the screwdriver out of my pocket, loosened that set screw, tightened it up, and then I noticed there was another screw on the other side that had to be tightened also. So I tightened that down, boom, everything worked fine. Now there's a moral to this story. Because if you ever have trouble, not just with your car, but anything in your life, if something is wrong, maybe it's because you got the screw loose.